Good morning, and welcome to our Sunday school class. We are going to continue talking about Lazarus. We knew that we weren't going to be able to get it all done on when we first started it. So let's just do a review real quick. A quick review. Lazarus is the brother of Mary and Martha. Mary is the one that anointed Jesus' feet with, like, I don't know how you would explain the oil and stuff that she used. It was very expensive oil. Mm-hmm. And Jesus loved Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. It was like best friends, the whole family. And, Lazarus got sick and he died. Well, they told Jesus about it, and he was in another town and all this stuff. And so by the time he got back to Lazarus, he was already dead, and it had been 4 days. We talked a little bit. We just kind of pulled a little bit out about the different things that was going on and why it was going on. Bill mentioned when we talked about when Jesus wept, you mentioned about how he was really weeping, not only because Lazarus passed away, but really because the people didn't believe who he was still.
Right.
And so as I was studying, and I was just looking up stuff.
In the moment that was supposed to be the foreshadowing of his own death, people couldn't realize that somebody could rise from the dead, despite him already doing that,
right.
I think 2 or 3 times.
Right. Well, as I was studying it and just getting some other stuff about Lazarus' death, is one of the questions was, why did Jesus weep? And the first answer was because the people did not believe that he was the resurrection and the life. And so I was like, see, we talked about all that stuff, and which it was truth. That's really what it was. And so we're just gonna get back into it. I can't remember quite where we stopped at. But I know we were talking about him being the resurrection and life and why he wept. Another thing was when I was talking about Mary and her anointing Jesus' feet. That's just another foreshadowing of Jesus' resurrection also. But it said in there how Lazarus was there.
Right.
He was there during the time that she took the most expensive oil and washed Jesus' feet. So Lazarus was there during that event. So they already knew
had that bond of their dedication to each other.
Right. And they already knew what Jesus could do, how he really was, because if they didn't, they wouldn't ask or go and try to find Jesus. And so when we're looking at the scripture, and I'm trying to figure out, I can't remember what verse we really stopped at, because I think we just read all of them and just was going back and just picking everything, like picking different things out. Have we gotten to where Mary?
I think we're on where Mary just got into her.
And when she had so said, she went her way and called Mary her sister. She just said, "The master is come and called her for thee."
Did we get to Mary talking to Jesus yet, or?
I don't know that we got to.
I thought we had.
Because we skipped and picked is what we did.
Yeah.
Because Jesus wept is all the way in verse 35.
Great.
And so we really just was grabbing different.
Yeah, we were kind of going all over.
Yeah, all over the place.
Go in order.
Okay, no, we really didn't. Because if we did, it would have been
yeah.
That's true.
Easier
to pick up.
Yes, for sure. Honestly, the last thing I remember we talking about was why Jesus was weeping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was me skipping forward because I realized we were on verse 27.
Yeah,
and I was
which
thinking
is fine
of that at the time.
It's fine. So let's just go to verse 27. This is after Jesus said to Martha.
28, I think. Yeah.
After he said to Martha that, well, okay, let's go back some more. Martha saith unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus saith unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? Okay, we talked about this. Martha never answered his question. She said unto him, Yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world.
But she never said that she believed he was the
resurrection and the life. And then I remember us talking about how he said the sickness is not unto death, and then going and said Lazarus is dead. He's dead. And then yes, in verse 4, the sickness is not unto death. Verse 14, Lazarus is dead. And then...
if they hadn't self-titled the Gospels, one of them should have just named it The Conundrum of Christ, because that's probably how they all felt the whole time. Just like, what?
Because he had such a greater understanding.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
They were just like, oh, he's better, he's sleeping. And
do you think he kind of got aggravated when first he said the sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. Then howbeit Jesus spake of his death, but they saw that he had spoken of taking a rest and sleep. Then said Jesus unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead.
When you have to go down people levels to get to people's understanding, it's like
frustrating.
It is. It's very frustrating to know something that people don't know. It's like almost even like a surprise birthday party or something. You have to kind of hide it from them, but talk to other people about it and try not to let them know. But then also there's a point where you're just levels of understanding above people, and you don't know how to explain it anymore.
Right, and you try to explain it, and they still don't get it.
Yeah. They just don't, and you're like, hey, come on, stop.
Well, I think that's how Jesus, to me, it sounded pretty plain when he said this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. He wasn't saying that he didn't say he wasn't going to die.
That's
but
true.
what is that
a lot
saying?
of times that this kind of thing happens too. I mean, with if somebody said to me, if I had an actual life-threatening terminal illness, and they were like, this sickness is not unto death, everybody would assume that means that I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
If this hadn't already happened, everybody would go, oh, he's not going to die. And then when I died, that would be a major blow to their faith.
Right.
It's like, what was that other thing I was just thinking of? Oh, come on. It was this story, Sickness is Not Unto Death. I thought of it and then I went past it. Where, oh, come on. I'll think of it in a minute.
Okay.
It was in the Old Testament.
I feel like Jesus...
Oh, I got it.
Got it?
Elisha, when he had been told that he would get a double portion of Elijah's, and then that last miracle didn't occur until much, after he had died. It kind of is like that, where God knew what was going on, but at the time everybody's like, what? He was supposed to do this many miracles and only did this. Probably no one noticed, but it was one of those things where there's a full accounting of, the what God has said, because he knows all of history, and then what we know is very limited to that.
Well, and I think that Jesus, he did explain it to them, and he did his best to explain it to them on their level, seeing that it tells you they were not educated. So when someone isn't educated, like Jesus, I should say, for instance, for Jesus, how he was educated, and you have to really explain things to people to where they're going to be able to understand it just as well as somebody that is educated will understand. It's like, for instance, trying to explain to a 2-year-old not to put their hand in the light socket.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, you can tell an adult, don't stick your hand in the light socket. A 2-year-old, you have to explain to them why you don't stick your hand in the light socket.
Because shocking
And
it
you
is
can't-
a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and you
Do
can't
you
explain
want
it.
do you want to get shocked? Or like you can't even really say shocked because they don't even know
Right,
what that
exactly.
means.
It's gonna
You have
hurt
to explain
really
it.
bad.
Really
That's how you have to
bad,
explain
yes.
it. You can't say that
Yeah.
this
You have to
carries current of
simplify it.
electricity, and if you put your hand in
Yeah.
there, it'll travel throughout your body and start energizing your nerves.
Right.
And like it's just you can't say it.
And then the kids, they'll go like, "Don't touch that. It hurt really bad."
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's how. And so, like Bill was saying, and some people you have to.
You have to go way down and just be like, "Hey, listen,
Right.
he's dead. That's it. There's no,
Right.
no. What are you? How are you gonna try to explain this away? He's dead.
Right.
I promise you he's dead.
He gave the scriptures. He said, and then it goes on. Talks about Thomas, which is called Didymus, the doubter. But he continues to do. Jesus really continued doing what he was doing because he knew what was about to happen. And it's like if he tried to explain that to his disciples, who definitely did not get it either, because it says, "Our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of sleep." Then said his disciples, "Lord, if he sleep, he shall do well."
I would actually get annoyed if I had somebody to talk to me like that, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They weren't very. They didn't really.
It's just somebody had died, and they were like, "He's sleeping. I will go and raise him up out of sleep." I would just get
I would
really
get
annoyed.
frustrated whether I was on either side of it. I'd be
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like
Because
it's
when
the very
someone's-
poetic prophet where you're just like always,
Well,
just
when
always
someone's
talking
trying to
in
explain
riddles.
something to you that you don't understand and they won't tell it to you plainly, that's frustrating. And if somebody doesn't understand what you mean, that's frustrating. So
Yeah,
it's really,
You
it's
just
kind
have
of
a
a
lot of
lose-lose.
metaphors.
Well, that's what
and
I
things.
think
But they
there's-
figured it out.
Well, I think that's why there's several different answers, like several different ways he had to say it because they weren't getting it. And so
That's kind of annoying for poetic people too, is when they have to finally just break down the poetry and just be like, "Yeah, he's dead." Like they can't use metaphors and and long
Right.
explanations. They just have to say it plainly.
right, and so Mary, Martha. We just talked about Martha. She did not answer the question. She just knows that he's the Son of God. And when she had said so, she went her way and called Mary her sister secretly, saying, "The Master is come and calleth for thee." And as soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came unto him. Now Jesus was not yet come into the town, but was in that place where Martha met him. So he wasn't even there yet. But Mary and Martha was in town where he was. And so the Jews then which were with her in the house and comforted her when they saw Mary, that she rose up hastily and went out and followed her, saying, "She goeth unto the grave to weep there." And when Mary was come where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying unto him, "Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died." When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. Okay, before this, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. If Jesus was there, Lazarus would have been healed. But when we look at all of Jesus' other miracles, of him touching the blind and healing leprosy, and the person that was healed, went glorifying God and gave God the glory. But there is something specifically about this miracle that we only see in John, that it needed to be different than just Lazarus is sick and he needed to be healed right then.
It wouldn't have, a sickness gets a lot less, I don't want to say, but like a lot of people hear more about the death of someone than the sickness of someone.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's usually final. That's it.
Right.
And a lot more people would have been there to see the miracle if Lazarus, it was actually that Lazarus was dead,
Right.
not sick.
Right. Well, and so
And
I was
that
healed
would have given
sick
God the
people
most glory.
Multiple. He also healed sick people multiple
But
times.
he didn't raise a lot of people from the dead, especially
Exactly.
not his best friends.
right.
Right, and everyone there, the fact that they had that lack of faith to say Jesus could raise him from the dead means that it was super important that he did, because otherwise, I don't think anyone would have really been
Believed. Yeah, it's like, that's just one of his healing miracles that he's
Well,
done.
the fact that the Pharisees could spread the rumor that his disciples had stolen him away, means that there were still some people who are kind of like, I don't know, it could have been a trick, it could have been this or that. And there are probably people. There are people who still explain miracles like that and different things. If I saw somebody floating in the air, I wouldn't instantly go, "Oh, that's a miracle," because of the levels of sometimes trickery that magicians and things have. I don't really believe that a lot of it is real magic. It's just a trick. There's something behind it.
Right.
And I've seen some amazing things as far as, magic tricks go. And so I think that at that point, that same skepticism would be there for some of that. But at a certain point, with all the things he was doing, there's a level that can't be explained away. Like, when there's people who, I don't want to make this like it's not real, but I saw a video the other day of somebody at a church service. It was like a huge church service. And they had their hand like this. You could see it was like this. And they were like, in the name of Jesus, grow, 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 grow. And like they just moved their hand like that. And I was like, oh, I hope this is a joke. Because that's just terrible. And then she fell on the ground like, praising the Lord. And I was like, oh, this is bad. It's just like.
And not saying that things like that don't happen in real life.
Sure.
But people, they do so many tricks and do so many marvelous things that it makes you wonder, really.
It really is. Sometimes it's hard to tell, and
right.
you have to be careful not to get deceived by that kind of
right.
thing. And that's what I think a lot of the skepticism around Jesus was.
Right.
That it's easy to say it's a magic trick or something.
A lot of people look at the miracle, not the miracle worker.
Right.
Exactly.
It's true.
So.
And that's why
he discredit the miracle, not so as much the miracle worker.
And that's why it said he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. Okay, before Lazarus is already dead, and I was looking at that. Why was it important that Jesus could have stopped what he was doing and went to Lazarus right then?
He could have done it right then.
Right. Well, so as I was digging into this, we talked about this, Lanee, last Sunday. Jews believe that after the third day, that the spirit of the person has died is gone. Like it's lingered around long enough.
The reason for that is that on the third day, then usually the body would get cold. It would start like the
decomposing.
That's when the
blood, the blood would start leaving. You wouldn't see it wouldn't seem like they were as alive as they were, slightly alive after they had died. So
when Jesus waiting for the fourth day, we haven't gotten to that yet, but waiting on the fourth day, what was it? Like, you know what I mean? Because
it was proof that person had definitely died.
That's why he had to wait.
That's what the 3 days the spirit was lingering around the body, waiting to see if it could come back in. Is I think what the belief is.
It is.
And
it really
the fourth
is.
Day signifies that it is truly a miracle. And
there's no other possible way that this person could have been raised from the dead,
and it was such a foreshadowing to his death.
Yes,
because I don't think every one of the other people that had died had not been dead for very long. Jarvis's daughter had just died before he had even gotten there.
Yeah, before he even got there.
The young man was being carried
all of
to
those
the
could be
tomb.
written off.
I'll say the widow's son was being carried to the tomb, so he wasn't.
It would be 1 or 2 days, I would say.
Right, but Lazarus was 4 days, so he was definitely.
All the others could be written off by the Jewish tradition. That they hang around waiting for the spirit.
Yes, whereas this one could not.
Right.
There's
at all.
No way that it could be disproven.
No, not one bit. Okay. Then when Mary was come where Jesus was, saw him. Okay, we just read that. groan in trouble. Okay, and he said, "Where have ye laid him?" They said unto him, "Lord, come and see." Okay. At this point, he was frustrated. He was just aggravated, even at Mary and Martha, because Mary, isn't she? It's like you think, do they not remember really who I am?
Right.
Like, who am? Like, do they not remember the things that I've done already?
Yes, I'm a human.
Yes.
And I love you, but...
And he's already raised 2 people from the dead. Like,
Yes.
This isn't the first time he's done something like this.
And so that's why I'm like...
But again, maybe it's that 4th day thing. They're like, oh, well, there's no hope even with Jesus.
With Jesus. Well, so,
Prove them wrong.
Jesus wept. We talked about why he wept. They still did not believe. So imagine your best friend just died, and not like yours, Jesus. We're talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
One of his best friends had died. And do you think that when Lazarus got sick, that he reached out to Jesus? Like, because this Lazarus being sick wasn't just he got sick and died. It almost like it had to be a process of thing to where his sickness got worse to where he
There's a point where you're just like, it's fine, I'll be okay.
Right.
It's just a cough or something, and then it gets worse and worse progressively until you're like, oh, I need to do something.
But you know how people
don't... It would have taken time for the message to get to Jesus and then to get back before he had to linger there for 3 more days to get there.
Right.
Well, he lingered for... How much longer? Because he lingered there for 4 more days. And then he had to travel to Bethany, and by the time he got there, then it had been 3 days since he died. So probably it was a long time, but not long. But it wasn't like one day he fell off a ladder and then the next day he died.
Yeah,
it was a sickness that took about a week of time, I would say.
Right. Okay. Where am I? Then said the Jews, "Behold, how he loved him," because they just thought he was crying because Lazarus was dead. Which I think partly yes, and then partly no.
Right.
And some of them said, "Could not this man which opened the eyes of the blind have caused that even this man should not have died?" Jesus therefore again, groaning in himself, coming to the grave.
Right.
It was a cave, and a stone lay upon it. Jesus said, "Take ye away the stone." Martha, the sister of him that was dead, said unto him, "Lord, by this time he stinketh, for he hath been dead 4 days." Jesus saith unto her, "Said I not unto thee, that if thou wouldest believe, thou shouldest see the glory of God?" He's frustrated.
Yes.
So it's showing Jesus' emotions
when he groaned
again.
in himself.
Yes.
Could not this man open? See, not only is their lack of faith troubling, they're starting to doubt who he is because of this.
He can
open the eyes of the blind, but he can't do this, right? He didn't, obviously, so he can't do this because
and I think it having loved someone that was so close to you, doubt your ability the most makes it more troubling.
I just thought of this as well. Another plausible reason why he would have wept in this situation is probably not because he was sad that Lazarus had died, but probably that he was sad that Lazarus had to be taken back from the paradise that he was in. That he was in a better place at this point. And now Jesus realized that after being in there for 4 days, which who knows how long that is in heaven time,
It's just, honestly, I don't think it's all that complicated. It's just, it's a hard and stressful situation in general.
Right.
Yeah.
His friends are mourning. There's a bunch of pressure put on him. He wasn't able to be there when his best friend died. I think it's not for any one reason. I think it's just
there's like different
the stress and the sadness of this entire situation.
He's just started weeping. And then, we've been to a lot of crazy funerals and heard a lot of crazy funeral stories, jumping in the casket, that kind of thing.
Checking the feet to see if the cat was there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that, honestly, that him start weeping and then all of a sudden going, open it up, open it up. You know, they probably just thought he wanted to like give him a hug or something, or like look at him one more time because he had missed him. They didn't think of healing him.
Yeah, Martha's.
So that's what I think. Martha's like, Lord, it's okay. It's okay.
Jesus said, take ye away the stone.
She's like, Lord, he's stinking right now.
He's stinking for he's been dead 4 days.
And she probably was angry too. She's like, yeah, it's been 4 days. Yes, you should have been here earlier, you know.
Well, he told her though.
Yeah, he did.
Said I not unto thee that if thou wouldest believe, thou shouldest see the glory of God. That's how they are to us today. Didn't I tell you that this was going to happen? Didn't I say, if you would believe, you're going to see the glory of God?
So just let me work.
Just let me work. Let me do this. Let me, And so then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. And I know that thou hearest me always. But because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. And when he thus had spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin. Jesus said unto them, Loose him, and let him go. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Jesus did believed on him. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Jesus had done. Okay.
We may want to do one more section, even if it's a smaller section on this at the end.
We're going to have to because it's already 11 o'clock.
Time. But
okay, right here.
Because this next section with the Pharisees is super important.
Yes, it really is. And when I was studying and everything about it, they actually sought to kill Lazarus. Mm-hmm. Not that he just died from a sickness.
So that it would show that Jesus couldn't really keep him alive if he raised him from the dead.
But we will talk more about that next week. We have run out of time. Hope you got some good information, more information about Lazarus' death. It's very interesting, a lot of great details, and we can look at this also and see that if we would honestly just believe that God is going to do it, then there is no room for doubt. And I need to use that in my life, and I'm sure the rest of, everyone else does too. Believing that he can, he will. When he said that he was going to, no room at all for doubt. So we hope that you have a great rest of your day. It is cold here in Florida. I know it sounds crazy. And that you would join us for our Sunday morning worship service. Have a great rest of your day.